But you know what? Let's get into what happened yesterday, Simo. And again, we're not going to spend much time on this. We're going to do our normal hour and 15 because I do have Tyler here and I want to take him out, hang out with him and do some game hunting because he wants to go to GameStop and we enjoy doing that, right? But Okami did something. A lot of people did this. I saw Hazardor Gaming, which was in the chat the other day. So shout out to Hazardor being one of the best in the business when it comes to the Twitter community. But I didn't see his. I did see Okami's. So, of course, Okami _13_ another amazing member of the gaming community. He put a bullet point list of exactly what happened yesterday. And obviously, we're not gonna be redundant on our emotions on it. I want to know from the chat what happens, and I want to know from C Money what happens afterwards. And I'll reread that question after I'm done. But yesterday was a bad day for Xbox all around. It was probably the worst that Xbox has seen in regards to bad news. I want to say in the last 5 years, maybe a little bit more than that. A lot of people like myself were in our feelings, right? We know I said some things. I don't take them back. I love Aaron Greenberg and Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond and Matt Booty. I do think that they are genuine executives, and some really bad decisions were made, in my opinion. I think the last time we talked about this was when Hi-Fi Rush Studios closed and a few other closures. Closing studios and laying off people is never easy. I always equate to, Xbox and more specifically Microsoft being the richest company in the world. If anyone could hold on to people more, it should be them. But I'm also not a boob, folks. I understand that, ultimately, Rare had this game in development for years, right? For a long, long time. And they couldn't figure it out. At some point, you got to pull the plug, right? The one that hurts for me isn't the unannounced Bethesda game, right? From their online studios, because we don't know if that's the rumored, Grogu game, right? Obviously the Mandalorian. We heard rumors that could be what it is. It's not any of the Indiana Jones games because obviously those aren't online. This is on the ZeniMax Online. So I can't be upset about a game I did not know that existed, right? Of course, it's the fact that the game is canceled sucks. For me, what hurts the most is Perfect Dark. I remember a lot of fond times playing it on the N64 and was very excited to play the 360 launch title. Now, the 360 launch title was okay, right? It wasn't great. This video of gameplay that now is rumored to be fake or just a production rather than actual gameplay looked dope, looked really good, and that was canceled. So they canceled a couple of games. They closed the studio. The initiative was an experiment that didn't work, folks. It didn't work. But the summary that Okami 13 put out there for yesterday's shenanigans, if you will, was Perfect Dark canceled, the initiative closed. Everwild canceled, Rare hit with layoffs. Banjo-Kazooie director leaves Rare after 35 years. That came the way of VGC and Andy Robinson. 50% of Turn 10, the studio was laid off. King and ZeniMax were also hit with layoffs. New ZeniMax Online IP canceled. We don't know what that IP is. Apparently, again, other things that happened yesterday that really weren't in the news. Call of Duty Studios, Ravensoft, and Sledgehammer Games were also hit with layoffs. Blizzard was hit with layoffs. 50% of the Xbox user research team was laid off, and up to 9,000 employees at Microsoft's parent company that could be laid off. Now, the only positives that he has here, and they're not a lot, folks, is that all of the games that were at the 2025 showcase a couple of weeks ago are safe. Those titles will not be canceled. And State of Decay 3 and Undead Labs have been confirmed to be safe as well. So, I mean,
I feel like it's like I feel like it's all so dramatic. Well, let's go check to see if this game's alive. It's they're a $4 trillion company. They're not just shutting shit down. They're making sure that business makes sense. Every game that's announced is not on like some life support that's probably going to be canceled. Like that's the idea that this is the conversation that has to be had. Well, this game is safe. This game is the games are safe, man. The games are safe. The games that you want to play because they're going to be good are safe. The games that are not meeting the quality bar that is now the benchmark that Xbox has set since Redfall, those games are never safe. And guess what? Every game ever announced in the history of life is not safe. Any game, until you have it in your hands, has the possibility of never finding its way and going under, or ends up in the 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 review score pile. That is the normal way of life. I sorry, you were in the middle. It's just so dramatic with the this God, whoa, 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 another one safe. Like what do you mean they're safe, bro? Microsoft is making 40 games. They've released how many games this year already? They're releasing another 7 for the rest of the year. Stop trying. This is all feeding into that pony narrative that there's some risk involved. There's no risk. The only risk that exists is if you're making a crap game. As much as I would love Perfect Dark, that would be awesome. What they showed us, if they were able to realize that into a full-fledged game, then yes, sign me up. But you just said it right now, Boom, that Perfect Dark on the 360, meh.
Yeah, it was
great.
okay. It was okay.
Yeah, so if the new Perfect Dark released, because we all definitely wanted it to come out, and it was just meh, does that hurt or help the gamer? Does that hurt or help Xbox? I don't think it helps. I think it puts us back into the world of, if Xbox release a game, is it going to be good? Because that's the way the world looked at them, right? But every Xbox person now knows, since Redfall, every single game they released has been high quality. It might not be in the genre that you care about, but if that game was released since Redfall, it's been high quality. It's been at a high standard, and they've been doing it ever since, bro. And no, so yes, for me, I 100% want Phil and the team to look at the game and be like, this is not good enough. What's your plan to make it good enough? We need 2 more years. Go fuck yourself.
Listen, folks, I know that might sound harsh coming from C Money, but the reason why I do like double down on what he says specifically about business is because he has his own business, and decisions like this have to get made, and sometimes those decisions are hurtful. But for the ultimate, I listen. I'm not going to cap for Microsoft. I think that it stinks to high heaven. Sorry, I just really do. But again, the reason why I could turn the coin and say I understand, I don't agree with it, but I understand specifically about the 2 games. And by the way, I just pulled a tweet here that which is pretty interesting. Destin Legary put this tweet out, and it does kind of actually confirm what I said was wrong. So shout out to Destin Legary. Again, I only went based on the reports of this game not actually being real. Well, according to Adam McDonald, a level designer for Perfect Dark, who actually put out a tweet, and he said this demo, it is actually in engine. It was one of 3 level designs that worked. It was one of 3 level designers that worked on it. It worked best if you played it the way that the person was playing it in the video, but it still worked even if you didn't hit the marks perfectly. So it was in fact a real demo,
I mean, it
according
was
to
definitely. I don't think it was ever fake. Like they didn't just like magically appear. But like he said, right? Like it worked best if you played it exactly how he
well,
played
yeah.
it, right? And that's the problem, right? Because people are not going to play it exactly like he
Hmm.
played it. So as cool as that choreography was, if I don't do that, what is that game to me, right?
Yeah,
And that's really where we got to understand that again. Look, they've been talking about this game for a long time.
they
Okay,
have.
they have,
Yeah.
and they've given it every opportunity. But I want to remind everyone here that the game that was canceled, okay, be it Everwild or Perfect Dark, are games that were in production before Xbox bought Bethesda, before Xbox bought ABK. Everything is different now.
Yeah.
You have to understand that those games were necessary for Xbox before because they didn't have 40 games in production. But now they get to look at it and say, you know what? As cool as that idea might have been, it's not coming together, and this is going to do more harm than good for us. Cut it. They
Yeah.
don't need the games anymore. And that if you take a look at how this is playing out with the amount of games we already got this last year and everything still coming this year, everything we know for sure is lined up for next year. Like they are in the best place you can be as a publisher because they can pick and choose what they should continue working on and what they don't need to waste money on anymore. Again, I get it. Emotionally, it would have been cool to see Perfect Dark come back. It was a dope reveal. It was a dope gameplay trailer they dropped. But if that game is going to be trash, I'd rather not have it. I'd rather not have
Fair
it.
point. It's a fair
I don't
point.
need games to exist just to exist. We're not thirsty like that. That's a PlayStation move for sure. They're like, oh shit, we need to get a game out. That's why they released a game like Ragnarok or Spider-Man 2 that was subpar. To this day, Spider-Man 2 is still bugged. To this day. So
You know what's interesting? Helldivers 2 sold more than Spider-Man 2. Fun fact. Which is bonkers. Think about that. But
just what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is. So like the entire idea is just it's just crazy. It's just crazy to me. Look, I understand the idea um that people are in their fields, like you said, and they want to go after Xbox. And somebody came on Twitter because I wrote a nice post, all right, saying that thoughts for the people who are affected. Good on Xbox for going ahead and make sure that they're going to help them through the transition. They even
yes.
offered them other Xbox positions, so it's not like get away, you're done. It's just like this game wasn't working. We're not going to keep funding this scenario. But if you want to go work on another game that we're funding, find an opening, go do it, right? So like I said, good on them, right? And then some dude said, I know you're not going to go on your show and talk for 4 hours defending blah, 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 blah. Okay. And then in here, I saw somebody saying something multiple to one guy, he's just saying it a bunch of times about
He
don't
probably
defend
got
them. They
sniped that
did
one. I think
bad
I know who you're talking
yesterday.
about. Yeah.
They did bad yesterday. Fam, I'm sorry. I'm maybe it's just the perspective that I have, being that I own a business, but I understand that this is like there is no charity here. There is no charity here. And I I want you to go ahead and for 1 second stop thinking as somebody who has skin in the game because you don't. Okay, you don't have any skin in that game. None of those things, none of those layoffs or any of that stuff affected you personally, right? The people who got affected, they're the ones who need support. They're the ones who need good wishes. Talking bad about Xbox for making sure their business is in line is crazy. They could have $40 trillion in the bank. They're never going to keep people working on something when it's not good for them. Stop trying to put this emotion on a company and think that they should ever, as a company, sit there and think to themselves, well, what about these people? No, that's not how this shit works. Yes, the person who affected sucks. I feel bad for those people, but the conversation should only be, and I gotta say, I'm actually pretty glad to see that there were some pretty big people that could have taken the opportunity to jump on the Xbox bad wagon, and they didn't. They kept it to what it should be, which is our thoughts are for those people. Hopefully, they'll go and land on their feet. And then I also have seen people who've retweeted their posts of the people who lost their job and are looking for jobs and amplifying their voices, right? But no, what they want to do is they want to sit there and talk about Xbox or Microsoft as if they're bad people. Bad is not a name you can associate with a company that doesn't, they don't, there's no feelings involved. Unless they're out here funding terrorism or some crazy crap that is a problem for you. Like, I get that, right? That's wild. But like a video game and a software company who's making Windows and Xbox, their entire every single business that exists is about making money. Don't talk about it as if you can't put that, like, wrap that around your head. Okay. If the business is not going to make money from what's coming, no business will do it. No business will do it. So, like, at the end of the day, again, I understand the feelings that are involved, right? And it's easy to say, how can you do this, Xbox? No, Xbox, we look at it and say they could afford to give them more time. Who's to say they didn't already get to that point? Who's to say that 2 years ago or 3 years ago, Perfect Dark wasn't at that point where they said we should probably just pull the plug, and somebody in there and advocated for them and said, hey, come on, let's give them a little more time. Let's give them a little bit more. Who's to say they haven't already done that before they got to this point? We just saw the trailer last year. You don't think that's them showing that, hey, we believe in you? We believe in you, Perfect Dark. Go finish this game, make it dope. You don't think that's them saying that? You don't think them bringing up Everwild not too long ago? Because I see people trying to quote in February on Xbox Era, Phil Spencer brought up Everwild, right? At the end of the year, Everwild posted to 2025, like this was going to be their big moment to come out. You don't think that they were trying to do this? Fam, the games have to be able to hit. They have to be able to hit the quality bar that they want. And if that's not going to be the case, then they're going to drop it. Now, again, those announcements happened. Think about Everwild. Everwild restarted. We heard so many rumors about Everwild having, well, I don't even know if it's rumors because the guy left, right? They had to change the whole direction. So you got to imagine that they spent the last few years trying to pigeonhole a new idea into an idea that was already made for something completely different, right? So Everwild, we already know that was in problems. We were all hoping it was going to pull through. Clearly it didn't. Perfect Dark, bro, we know that that company was started from scratch to make a game. They had a whole belief, oh, everybody's going to be doing everything and having their own say. And then guess what happened? It all went to crap. They had to bring in Crystal Dynamics. Crystal Dynamics is having closures and stuff. Like, everything is happening around this game. The fact that it took to now for them to cancel it is wild. That they took that much time. It's wild that they gave them that much rope before they ultimately had to pull the plug. Like there is not a scenario here where it's not clear that Microsoft and Xbox did everything they could to let these games get a chance. It's clear. Look at how long these games have been in development. It's crazy. But again, remember, these games came before, bro. These games were from an era where Xbox needed games. So they had these games. They started initiative. They wanted these games to happen. Rare was already cooking on Sea of Thieves, right? they this is just another game that they were making, and they were given that opportunity. It's been so long. Like, it's just like, stop the bullshit, man. Just stop. You're crying. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You should not be out here crying to such a degree. If it's your immediate reaction, that's fine, right? I get it. Oh my gosh, this is happening. Sure. But then when you sit down, you got to look at it, man. You got to look at it for what it is. The messages from Phil and Matt Booty just literally painted everything out for you. Right now, Xbox is in the best place they've ever been. Okay. Back in February and leading up to that moment, what were all these decisions that had to be made that were, if it were up to everybody, would have never happened, right? The decisions would have never been made. And then guess what would have happened? Xbox wouldn't have been in the exact position they're in, right? They're in the position they're in because of decisions they've made in the past. Whether you agreed with it or not, that's where they are. And just like Phil said, the decisions they make today are going to make them that much better for the coming generations, right? It's going to put them in an even better situation going forward. Again, I know we talk about this stuff because gaming has a weird way of letting people behind the curtain, I guess, compared to other industries, or maybe other industries all do this. We just don't follow those industries, whatever it is. But it's like we are getting caught up in stuff that ultimately is not hurting us. If we were the Xbox of before, okay, if we were the Xbox of before and we didn't have that many studios, we didn't have that many games come out. Like if you're PlayStation right now and they announce that Ghost of Yote is cooked, we're done, we're canceling it. That's devastating. That's devastating because they have nothing else coming out. Guys, we got more first-party games released just in the first half of this year than probably ever in history. And now we have another 6 games or 7 games coming. Like, that's the reality. That's the reality. We have so many games. So 1 game, 2 games that are not hitting the bar, needing to be scrapped. And then you have Matt Booty coming out, dropping the hammer on everybody, saying we have 40
games. Yes.
40 games. And he doesn't mean 40 games that are going to come out in 10 years. You're talking over the next 3 to 4 years, you're going to see those 40 games that make it through, right? Understand, not all 40 games are going to survive, right? Again, just like every other game, the game has to be good, right? But over the next 3 to 4, hell, even the next 2 to 4 years, we're going to start seeing those games drop, right? That's what's going to happen. And we are in the best position we've ever been in. So, no, I'm not going to sit here and cry and say, how dare Xbox run their business. That's crazy talk. That's crazy talk. I don't run that business. I don't know what's best for them. They know what's best for them. They clearly know what's best for gaming with them coming out here and changing most of our minds as to what we believe the gaming industry to be, right? Uniting gamers in a way that has never been done before, uniting games, bringing them onto multiple platforms. I mean, this is a phenomenal time to be a gamer, and we're worried in a crazy way. Now, again, I'm not taking away from the sadness you may feel. You know, some people have more emotional connection to things, so they feel a little more hurt. They feel sad more, no problem. I definitely feel bad for everybody who now has to go and live that. We've all been there, right? We've all been let go from a job at some point or another. You weren't expecting it. Out of nowhere, your life is flipped, turned upside down. And that's just not a great place to be in. And it sucks for those people. And I think we hurt the narrative. We hurt their pain. We take away from their pain when we try to focus on the entity that only did what they had to do for their business, right? So talking about Microsoft and Xbox in this stuff is only taking away the focus on helping these people get seen, right? So if you see somebody, if you really want to help, okay, if you really want to help, if it really matters to you, when you see these people do posts that say, oh, I lost my job today, then you go ahead and you quote tweet that and write a great message endorsing these
And,
people. Oh, I've seen I love their
promoting
game.
this person, so maybe someone
Promote
sees it.
the
Yes,
people.
absolutely. Yeah.
Fill your timeline promoting the people you see who are affected by this, instead of filling your timeline talking shit about something that has no meaning here. It doesn't matter. They're going to do what they have to do for their business. It's not your business, it's their business. And if you don't like their business, then don't support it. But at the end of the day, the people are the ones that are affected. And if you want to actually show that you give a shit, show on your timeline that you're seeking out these people, because there's plenty of them who are out there talking about how they were let go, right? And go ahead,
retweet
and
these people's
retweet,
posts. Yes.
quote tweet that, amplify those voices. That's how you know you're gonna give a shit. That's how you show that you're giving a shit about those people. Crying on that about Xbox and Microsoft, all you're doing is showing that you rather console war than give three shit about these actual people. And that's why I'll even shout out the fact that I saw people like Paris, instead of him going out there and saying, I can't believe Xbox did this. I can't. No, he talked about the people.
Yeah, he also mentioned empathy, something that people seem to forget.
Absolutely.
That are actually a human being feeling, right? Like having empathy for these people affected, instead of running around as a console war POS, because that's ultimately what a lot of them did, and it's disgusting.
That's all it is, bro. That's all it is. It's just people using the Xbox as a weapon now for the war, right? Oh, look at what they're dying. Bro, the people that you claim to be up in arms about are the ones that are affected, and you talking shit about Xbox is not changing anything for them. All right. So I have, and to be clear, I have seen some people, not anybody that I've recognized from like our circles, but I have seen some people who are going ahead and retweeting these other people and putting messages saying, oh, this person done great work. They worked on this game. This game was amazing, blah, blah, blah. Take a look. They need help. Like that is the way forward. That is the way forward. Anything else is bull. And all it does is really just shows your lack of understanding when it comes to business. And again, it kind of is what it is. But to sit there and waste time and energy talking about something that ultimately all you're doing is trying to jump on the bandwagon, right? You want to get the clicks because you know that it's popular to do this. So this is your opportunity to go ahead and talk crap about something that ultimately doesn't matter. As a gamer, you're not affected. You can say you were excited for Everwild, but you don't know how that game was going to turn out, and you would talk crap about it if it was bad.
None of us even knew what the game was, to be
exactly
fair.
Same thing with Perfect Dark. You're saying, oh, I'm so excited for it. I wish they would have just released it. But if that game came out and it was trash, what were you going to say? Were you going to say, well, at least they released it, so I'm going to give it a 10? No, you're going to talk crap about it, and you're going to say Microsoft can't release good games. Like that's what's going to happen. So you can't be disappointed about something that you don't even know what that was going to feel like. You don't even know if it was going to be good. You could be quote unquote, man, it sucks that this game is not going to come out because it wasn't as good as it should have been, or whatever the case is. But to go ahead and like act as if you're so, oh my God, I can't believe Microsoft Xbox would do such a thing when all these other people have been doing it. There's nobody thinks they're dead, right? But Microsoft does it, and it is. And I got to tell you, 9,100 people is a big number for sure. Sucks for all those people. But how about we go ahead and why don't we Google how many employees Microsoft actually employs, right? Because the workforce they have is crazy. It's crazy how many people they employ. So as much as it sucks, again, for the people, this is just business. Business is business. Don't cry over it. You just look ignorant. It just looks like you can't figure it out. It just looks like you don't know what's happening. And it's wild, man. Just don't, like, again, you have an initial reaction to something and you go out there, sure, it is what it is to put your feelings out. But like to harp on it forever, to keep going, to keep doing the tweets, to keep doing the videos, to keep talking the shit. It's like, fam, just stop. Just stop.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, you made a lot of great points. And like I said, you are on the ground level of this because you understand business. And business is a harsh reality. Again, I'm not going to apologize for, calling out Xbox. I'm not going to do that. I said what I said, and I stay strong with it. Corporate greed ultimately is not just a Microsoft problem. It is it's a business problem. They want more money and they want that money on the backs of the people. But look, real quick, shout out to gaming_dude28. Microsoft has 228,000 people they employ. Again, this is 9,100. It's a lot of humans, folks. And I make no excuse for it.
Should they go away?
They're not going anywhere.
Turn that number to 228,000 instead of 9,000. I'm just wondering, like, if they're bad, right? We want to tell them how shit they are. Should they say, you know what? You're right. We are shit. Let's pack it in, guys. 228,000 people unemployed because you guys think we don't know what we're doing. We are so stupid. Sorry. Thank you guys for letting us know it's all over.
Thanks for coming.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all perspective, right? You got it. You can't rip them a new asshole because they have to let some people go when they clearly employ more than most companies will ever employ in business.
Yeah, no,
you know
you're
like,
yeah, 100%
and to
right.
be honest with you, letting 9,100 people go, they might hire 9,100 people right back throughout all their places that they do business. It's just that these 9,100 people weren't necessary.
Right.
That's the sad part.